And we are live on another Wednesday night for CAV HQ. And tonight, Mr. Ross Hines is joining us, one of the staff painters, and an overall good guy. So, and hopefully, you want to say something, Ross? Make sure they can hear you.
Yeah. Just one, two, one. Oh wait, no. Hey guys, what's up? Hopefully some of you have heard me before. I used to do a little podcast with some guy named James. I don't know. We talked a little bit.
With that James guy, Mr. His birthday's today, by the way. 80. I think he's like 82. 82, 83.
Oh, I thought it was 93. He was giving Betty White a run for her money or something. So
Well, he decided that he decided that he wanted to spend it with the family rather than us.
Oh, it's so sweet. Wait, he should be spending with us. Come on.
I tried to guilt him out a little bit, but it didn't work. So I haven't heard anybody answer yet. So can you guys hear Ross?
Uh-oh.
We'll see. Somebody will come on here. Hey, all. Hello, Hobby. Hi, Gimli. Hi, Mary. Yes, they can hear you. So we're good.
Oh, good. Okay.
We're having to good. We're having to do this a whole new way because Ross lives like in BFE. So he has no internet. So we have to bring him through the phone and trying to figure out a dozen ways to make it work. 1 through 11 did not, but 12 finally did. So we're good to go. So that's the reason I just get to talk to the head tonight. That's what you see. You just Ross's head.
Yeah. Sorry, no cameras for me, no bandwidth, no uploading, no. It drove James nuts on the podcast because we'd have to double record. I'd have to send him the file. He'd have to patch it all together. It was a mess. I'm glad he did that because I probably couldn't have done it.
As we learn our new technology things so that we can get more people in from time to time and different subjects and stuff like that. So anyway, so as we're kind of letting everybody kind of file in, Ross, what have you been working on? I know we haven't been doing a lot of CAV stuff lately since we haven't been getting together and all the stores are closed.
Our stores are open, but to be honest, my wife doesn't really like me getting out because of doing the whole cancer battle the last year and a half or whatever. Right. COVID's kind of like a big deal, and so I had to pay attention a little bit. I haven't been playing much CAV, unfortunately. Haven't really. I just been kind of in a funk, to be honest. I've been painting here and there. I've been painting some terrain for John, and I think it's overdue by a little bit. I'm almost done with that. Sorry, John.
It's okay. It's all right. But, it goes with the territory. I know you had a lot going. And when I said stores closed, I mean, I know that the stores are back open now, but they're still with all the restrictions and everything that goes on.
You have to reserve tables and you call in a week early and reserve a table for you and one other person, which doesn't help because it's usually me and Chandler, Smog, Scott and his son, so there's 3 people, and it's like, well, you only have 2 at the table. I'm like, what's one more? But
so I know it's just trying to go to a store and do any kind of gaming like we're used to doing is absolutely crazy.
People are doing it, but it's a lot. They've got a bunch of tables put up, and it's nuts. And I wish it wasn't that way because I think right as you were dropping the new releases and the new variants and the new FAQ, like back in February or March, boom, we can't play with it.
Yeah.
So I think I played myself on the table once, and I was like, oh, these rules are kind of now. And now I'm sitting there going, wait, what did he change? Uh-oh, I don't remember.
It definitely screwed with our summer and everything getting out. And that's the weird thing about it, too, because even if if I was in an area where I could go to a store, I mean, I wouldn't go right now. I mean, it's just weird. You don't know, you hear one thing one day and one thing the other day, but when you're here in cities calling portable morgues and stuff like that, it's hard for you to sit back and try to say, oh, it's just like this, or it's nothing.
Yep.
I don't remember in my lifetime listening, multiple cities call for portable morgues.
I don't know which way I lean completely, but I know that I'll slip into my store to buy some paints and stuff, just what I need. But it's not my wife for sure. I mean, I'm probably like, I'll get my mask and I'll get my hand sanitizer on the table or whatever. But, my wife's like, or you could just like skip it and just not take that chance. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. There's a reason that women
Yeah.
live longer than men. So
Yeah. Well, and that's, certainly in your situation. I mean, that's 10 times
right.
more that you have to take into account, So
Yep. No, it is.
anyway.
It is. And so I'm
All
always
right.
like,
So
okay,
let's
honey, you're right.
move on from the
Yes.
plague. And
Yes.
so
'Cause
we
I'm
haven't really been
taught to
playing a
death.
whole lot. We've been busy here working on stuff for next year. You've been in on some of the conversations with
Yes.
the new casting system that we're bringing in. Some new models. We've been working on the JOR, trying to get that stuff. You guys are painting a bunch of those models.
About to kick that off. Yeah.
Yes. So we're getting ready to really push through that and go from there. And let's see, what is some other cool? Of course, Chris has been working on new sculpts that he's been showing on Saturday. So he did the Kodiak, which we've
but
showed
that
off.
thing is awesome. Yeah, and y'all print those off for James and you to paint. Those came out great. Your splinter camo looked awesome, and James's was a kind of a yellowish brownish scheme was looking nice on it too.
Well, I know that we have some unreleased ones coming out in the JOR that you guys will be getting some prints of.
Right.
So you guys will get your part too.
Oh no, I'm not worried about it. I mean, I'm a little jealous, a little bit. Like, I'm like, oh man, look at those, so cool. But yeah.
Well, the thing with the Kodiak with that weird cannon off to the shoulder or whatever, it's a little different setup. With not so symmetrical,
Right.
And so it's a little different, but I think it fits in. I like it. It's something new. It's something different.
Oh yeah, no. It's great. Like I can't wait to get that with my Alma Throw because I'm an Alma Throw player here. I've got an army. I had it at CAVCon the last time we had it in person back in, when was that? I forget. 2019 maybe.
Yeah, like 20 years ago. Something.
Yeah,
like
it seems like forever ago. But yeah, I brought that army, which it was more Ritter than Alma Throw, but the key players were Alma Throw. So, but it was
because I plan on once we get kind of caught up and stuff. I want to do the Amethyl versions of the Rhino, stuff like that. That'll have some.
Change the art.
Yeah, change some things up a little bit so that we'll come back with them. Well, see, that's the great thing about the new figures. That's the great thing about the new machine is everything will be in house. No. We can do whatever we want. So, by the way, Colonel Kane says, "Hey Ross," and then ask if you're jealous.
Howdy.
So, FYI, because of Ross being in BFE, he can't actually see chat. So if you have a question for Ross or whatever, just type it out and I'll pass it on.
Put me on the spot. It's fine.
I know. Well, I just make sure everybody, we let him know what's going on. So, and then he did the Akula, which is a little fire support hovercraft, and right now he's just been picking stuff off the list. So, I don't know what he starts on next till he actually does it. So, but I love little hovercraft. So they're nice little harassing weapons and everything like that. Exactly. Best part. Right. We can stamp made in America on it. That's all. The first thing Chris has brought up to like 3 times. He keeps forgetting. Oh, I need to change made in the USA on there. Yes, you do. They're not made in China anymore.
That's a key thing, man. That's it's awesome. Like I just say, I think I said it back a few months ago when this, told us about it and we got wind of it. Like I'm excited. I mean, the idea of you just saying, well, let's just make a mold for this. Let's go get the printer going and get all this stuff set up and zip it out and let's run it and see what happens. Like, wow. Instead of, cause I've been with you since the second Kickstarter and watching that process unfold with the Chinese. And that was, like they can mass produce it, but man, that was,
you're thinking a year ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you can't just say, oh, guys, hold on, time out. That's not working for me. Let's change this. They're like, no change. Lots of print.
Yeah, and that's the killer part that I've explained to everybody, whether it's a $60,000 Kickstarter or a $3 million Kickstarter. The time is all the same. The amount of time that I have to spend, set it up, put it together, get it ordered, get it in, it expands on some areas like, when we're doing fulfillment and everything. Yeah, but all the same work goes in those same Kickstarters. So when you're dealing with overseas stuff, so I can't wait to get out from that.
Oh man, So I don't know if you can talk about it. What happens to maybe y'all already have, because I can't watch Twitter because my iPhone hates, or Twitch, I mean. So what happens to those molds, like the ones that are already over there? You just keep using them until they burn up, or?
Well, they are good for like 100,000, 250,000 each.
Okay.
So, at this point, I think maybe we run, depending on the mini, maybe 6 to 10,000 of them through a mold.
No, okay.
So yeah,
So
they've got a lot of
yeah.
life. But in all honesty, we will probably never order anything off of them again. I mean, it's basically
Okay.
we'll abandon the molds because it's
Right. Okay.
it's not worth what it would cost to have those sent over here, because those molds are 500
Sure.
pounds a piece. So we've got,
Oh, goodness.
yeah, so we've got, hell, I don't know how many molds that we've got over there now.
A bunch.
Yeah,
I'm
40,
looking at the
50.
figures over here on my counter. Yeah.
Yeah, so something like that. So, yeah, so all of a sudden I've got, 40 tons, 30 tons worth of molds or something to bring over here. And
Yeah. No thanks.
yeah, and then the cost
Well,
and then storing them, and then I
yeah.
can't do nothing with them, because I don't
But the
have no way
beauty
to
of
run
CAV
plastic.
is, the beauty of CAV is they can't bootleg it either because they're not going to make any money. Sorry.
Gee, thanks,
I've seen
Ross.
some of the GW's. Well, with GW stuff, you can go find, without trying too hard, some bootleg sites, and you can get their $100 model. You can get it for $25.
Right. Right.
They
Well,
just, and they're not bad quality, but with CAV, because of the margins, you're like, or you can buy from America and it's like $6 a figure. What are the Chinese going to do? Roll you at like $2 a figure and then shipping?
Yeah,
There's it doesn't make sense.
At our cost break, there's no point to not go out and
Right.
buy the original one. So
right. I mean, yeah, you can get it shipped real
from
fast.
That side, I thought you just meant because we didn't have as many people playing. So.
Oh, no. I mean, that could be something too, maybe, but we're going to.
No. Then he does the little backhanded one anyway. Okay, I got it. I see how we are.
Sorry,
tonight.
no,
it's okay.
No, for sure, it's the price point. Like that, the GW junk, they shove that out there. They just released their new 9th edition, and the Necron releases. They got the big monolith, the big cube thing. It used to be $30, I was told, back in the 90s. Now it's 170. Like, really? Seriously? Yeah, no. So, anyway.
Colonel Kane has asked if we're going to have an unboxing video for the new machine. Probably not, Colonel Kane, because this is for right now, this is a proprietary system that we don't want the whole world to know what the system is.
So people can't. It's
okay.
Copy.
Yes, it's okay to know what the end result is, but right now, how we're doing it is a secret.
Trade secrets. But yeah, I'm excited. Sorry, I'll keep saying that the whole night if you want. I mean, I'm fired up because just you being able to dictate what you do, like that's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Within a month or two, instead of like a year.
Well, we figured it up the other day. We literally could be from concept to actually ready for retail sales, probably maybe in a week and a half, 2 weeks, worst case, once we're up and got everything smoothed out. Yeah. So we could literally probably talk about a model on a show Wednesday night, and maybe by the next Wednesday have it ready to release. So.
Wow, that is crazy.
That's crazy, isn't it? Having that ability, it gets back to like doing the metal molds. It's a lot of the same processes, but hey, let's go out and put this on mold and release it next week.
Right. So, oh man, that's awesome. Like I said, you just made me more excited. Like I didn't think I was gonna get much more excited, and then.
Oh, I'm super excited for it. It's just, and speaking of, I mentioned this last night. Two things. Last night. Anyway, on the Reaper Twitch channel, they have, I think it's Tuesday night. Clever Crow something, right. Whatever. Anyway, it's Michael Proctor, and he does a little hour.
Yeah, it pops up on my phone.
Yeah. So anyway, he has some models that were made with this machine that were supplied to him by Reaper, and he does a lot of talking about them and showing them kind of the different things. He also, if you want to see something, I mean, we've done something with a few of them here in the past, but they've got more fantasy stuff or everything like that you can go look at and see how the swords and everything work, because it's it shows you what the capabilities of the material is. The second thing is the machine, the company that we're getting the stuff off of. They had done me a mold for us to see how our models would work out and everything. And they sent them to us, but they only sent me one set. They were supposed to send me a whole bunch of them. So we had that one set that we showed on the show a few weeks back, but where I got notification over the weekend that they are sending me a box of multiple models. So we're going to, yes, so we're going to get some of those out to our painters. We are also going to give some away. I'll figure out how I'm going to do it. Maybe next Wednesday night. Yeah, something. We'll do some kind of a drawing or something. So people can get some heads up on them. It's the Tuseki 2, the new Despot, and the Cobra.
Yeah.
So now the only thing I will say, I will say this. Hopefully they've corrected it. But when they did the Tuseki, of course they don't know really what our stuff is and don't pay close attention to it. There's still a pressure element that you have to kind of push the stuff in there, and they didn't get the back of the wings to form just perfect. So they kind of had a little rough area, and I took a knife and filed them down just a little bit, and they look fine.
Right.
But hopefully they've corrected that issue. I brought it after I got our first set. I brought it to their attention. So hopefully,
with the process as fast as it is, they should be able to fix it pretty quickly. Is the way
I would think so if they're trying. I mean, at this point, we've already committed to the machine and shook hands and exchanged money and stuff, so they may not be as motivated to. Oh, we got your money.
Like, okay, yeah, we sold. Okay.
Yeah, we got your money now. We don't have to do anything to help you out. So we've got that going on. And then the other, Chris started working on the Herzog, which I believe is an Amethyl artillery. Yeah, Gunner, you'll be getting a set, so you'll be good. Get you guys to pick some of it up. Actually, out of those three, I'm most excited about the new Despot. I think it really turned out really great and has addressed the barrel issue that we've had with the original one and everything like that. So. And we've upsized it just a little bit since it's an all new model, and we're not going off the older metal ones. So I love them. The 3D prints and the one I got in already, I've just been biting at the bit to paint them. Yeah. I love the Despot.
I'll tell a story real quick, and it was I think it was at the start of Kickstarter 3. And y'all redesigned all the Templar stuff and all the Malvernus stuff. And you made a comment in our internal chat, and you're like, we just sat down and started the first and second one. I never even thought that we could just redesign it. It was like you had all those metal models, and it was like, okay, we'll just do the thing up. But I think the results of that were stupendous when you really look at that third Kickstarter, just the quality on it.
Well, and that's part of that. I thought there at the beginning when we did the first Kickstarter that we would just be able to send the files over there, and that they would be able to make masters and go from there. I mean, that's the way they do it here. So that was, I know Reaper couldn't do that because at the time, especially, most of their stuff was being hand sculpted, but all of our stuff was either already a new file or an updated file, or we could go through and update the file. So when it came time to send them to them, we find out that the Chinese are working on 20-year-old technology, so they can't actually take our file and just drop it into their mold making machine like they do here in the U.S. So they literally, if we sent a file over there, they 3D printed it out and then took a scanner and 3D scanned it. So you kind of lose you're making a copy of a copy of a copy, and we're kind of back to that. And so at the time we redid 2 or 3 of the models, like the Thunderbird and some of the new ones that were in there. But we just didn't go ahead and do it with this. We're like, oh, well, they're going to 3D scan them anyway. We'll just send the metal miniatures over, and cut out a whole step because it was going to cost us, $8 or $9,000 to go through and remaster everything. So it was like, we really didn't plan that in the Kickstarter. So we just sent them the metal masters. Well, they turned out good. I mean, they're not great. But out of the whole batch, the Tuseki was the worst out of it with the way, because the wings were just too thin. And the tail, since they scanned it off the metal. They were fine for metal, but they just weren't thick enough for plastic. So had a little
right. Well, it was. I think you can see every Kickstarter. You can see what you learned, and you can see what got put into it, and in the results.
So in the second one, we addressed some more problems, and we had them kind of sprue things a little bit, and that helped with some. We still had issues with barrels and stuff like that being, and it comes just from being jammed in the box, being shipped. If you could actually take it straight from the mold and keep it somewhere and let it cool, and they'll be basically straight. It's just after all the transport, it just was. Then in the third one, we went to a new company and a new process, and voila, we got what we got. So, I'm happy with the way Kickstarter 3 turned out. If we were going forward, that would be the way we would do all of them, but we've discovered this new way to do them, and it's every bit as good, if not better, in a lot of ways than what we did in Kickstarter 3. So as we go back and run out of some of the older stuff, we will remodel those, put those back out. So
it's not anything.
There's like the Despot and the Chieftain, and there's some of them that we're out of. We're out of them right now. If you see a Despot in a blister somewhere, that's all there is, because we don't have any of them. And there's a few other like that, that we haven't went ahead and ordered, because we knew once we realized we were switching over to this, there was no need to get them in. So, I will say this: if you're, sitting back and you're like, oh well, I'm not going to buy that one because they may come out with a new one. There's a lot of them that we still have plenty of models that it'll be a year or two before we actually work what we've got on stock. So, don't hold out necessarily, but a lot of new stuff will be to keep.
Right. Cool. What kind of release schedule do you think with this new machine once we get into it? Are you like every other month, once a quarter? I mean, I don't know.
Well, I think you're put me on the spot. I know what you're trying to do.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
I think ideally when we start out, I think I'm looking at a monthly release. I don't know the exact numbers. Awesome. We may have 2, 3, 4 or whatever each month, but we've got so many models backed up because we should have done a Kickstarter this year. Okay. Mm-hmm. So that's what we were working from after we fulfilled last year. Starting in the first year, we started working on new models, getting ready for the next Kickstarter. So we had new models we were working on. We had models that didn't make it into the last Kickstarter. We had a couple of models left over from a lot of Amethyl models that were left over from the second Kickstarter, because we didn't get into those very far. So you could be.
Right. Well, and I'll add a caveat though, that honestly anybody that's in this chat probably has some experience in the gaming industry, and you can't hold us to what is said right now, because it could change. Who knows? Look at 2020. But timetables and due dates could change. So I did put them on the spot.
Right, and see, and that's the other kicker there, is we don't know where this is all going to end up yet.
Right.
We're still messing with this. If we don't have a con season, which it's really looking like to me right now that there may not be another con season. I mentioned last week when we were talking about them. By this time, we're already planned, paid, and ready to go for all the conventions into March, April, early May.
Right.
And we haven't even got paperwork for many of them. So, I think part of that is because I think that they got burned. The conventions, the hotels, a lot of those contracts are written from hell or high water. If you don't have your show, they don't care if if it's COVID and nobody shows up, you owe them $50,000. So you got to start writing a check. If you're a big enough show, generally you pull insurance on that. So worst case if something does happen. But the smaller shows, it is expensive, the insurance. So they're not gonna, they don't go out and spend $5,000 to get it.
Right. Well, then they can't afford it.
Right. And you really weren't expecting this either. Who would have thought at the end of CAVCon last year that we would be talking about plague, or something.
Right. Like, 2019, it was like, okay, that was in the bag. That was fun. I got a bunch of new players in Dallas. I've got a store, and they ordered material within a couple months, and we were carrying it. It was great. And then it's like, oh yeah, we're not playing anymore.
No, we picked up a couple of dozen stores after the show last year, and went into the new year, and we had regular retail orders and stuff coming in, and then like overnight, no more orders. I think the only store orders that we've got all this summer are just people that are selling stuff on.
Yeah.
No, I don't think we've had any brick and mortar store actually order store.
Yeah.
I think we've had a couple of special orders where the stores had a customer that did something. But as far as, ordering a restock every couple of weeks, we haven't had any of that. So, that hurts. Yeah. That sucks.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. But I did look up the Herzog. I think it's a Rock fire support tank track. Yeah, it's got 2 light howitzers, so that's going to be interesting. And it's kind of cheapish, I think.
Yeah,
$255.
It's kind of got it's kind of a tracked kind of look on it and stuff like that. It has kind of for the BattleTech guys, it's got kind of a demolisher look to it. Yeah, I mean not with the big rounded turn or whatever, but I think it's got some similarities to that I noticed as he was. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, that's always a fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because it's a brand new sculpt. It's not based on anything, right?
No, it's all just what Chris is coming up with, and
cool.
It's not anything that he let's go make our version of Demolisher. I think as he's working on it, it's picked up some aspects with the double track.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's only so many ways you could tank. I mean, at some point you're going to start seeing similarities here and there. I mean,
yeah, it's like music. It's like everything else. At this point in the world, there's nothing you can't design that you can say, well, that wheel looks like this.
Resembles,
wing,
right.
It just it is what it is. We try to mix them and come up with something new and different combinations and stuff. Can't never 100% get it.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Nothing wrong with that. It's just like you said, it is what it is. So you just
especially when you're dealing with something like robot stuff like that.
Right. Sci-fi, futuristic, whatever.
All right, so we haven't really got into any gaming. I've actually painted more in the last month than I've probably painted in the last year.
You just did one figure though.
Well, but I did I've been doing infantry and I've been doing terrain. Okay. There's a lot of other stuff. I've got some other CAVs and tanks primered.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I did actually do. I did up a silver. What was that? Duelist actually.
Yes,
for a Templar unit. He's not done yet, but he's close. It was fun playing with the silvers, and I used the GW lead belcher spray, just testing that out on the CAV, the bone material, and it did really well. So I was happy with that. Because Hugh Peoples, Tiger Race, he knows all about the spray paint and what works on the bones and what doesn't. And I should have probably just asked him, but I was like, I'm just going to try this and see what happens. And it turned out nice, so I can't complain.
Well, Gunner Fox says that he is personally responsible for the lack of chieftain. And
yes.
And then Colonel Kane says, I have not picked up a brush in months. Well, thank you, Gunner Fox. Colonel Kane, shame on you. What can I say? You guys at least pick it up, look at it, go, hey, paintbrush. Let it know that you know that it's there. There is. Yeah. It is so funny, some of the memes.
Yeah.
What they have left or talking to their wife or something. Right. Yeah, there was saw the one I saw the other night was there's a picture of a guy watering his yard, and his wife is hollers out the door something about, hey, it's when you're done watering the yard, I need to talk to you about your mini. And then
Yeah.
the next picture is this lake.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, oh, I'm
So,
almost
yeah,
done.
he
Yeah,
stayed out there for a long time.
yeah. There's another one that was take a shot every time you for every miniature you have unpainted in the bottom it says no, don't do that, you'll die. I think I saw
Yeah.
that one like 10 times last week. It popped
Well,
up.
they say that, you know, if you ever get all your miniatures painted, you. So there is
Yeah.
that, Brandon. Keep that in mind. Just don't get too crazy.
Yeah. I don't have
Now,
that problem, so.
here's a little secret thing I can drop to the people that are
Uh-oh.
here. If any of you follow Thunderbolt Studio, is that right? Is that the right name? I think it is.
Yeah, yeah,
Chris?
I think so. Yeah.
Yep. He is, I've been talking to him over the last couple of months on a couple of projects. So he is going to start sculpting for us. I don't know if you've seen some of the stuff that he sculpted. He's been doing a great job. So he's going to start next month on a miniature. I haven't decided which one he's going to start on yet. But second of all, he's going to paint some stuff for it. He's going to help out with the JOR. Everybody's seen how he paints. He did one of the trophies, for the War Master tournament last year. So I don't know how many he's going to work on, but we're going to throw in some to work for the JOR on that. And thirdly, he does 3D terrain files that he has put together for mainly that other game. You know, we won't hold him bad about that.
The one's got robots in it or something.
Yeah, it's got another robot, something like that.
Yeah, you know, I've never heard of it. Yeah.
So anyway, so one of the lines that he's done majority of the work is called Trinity City. So if you've seen any of his stuff, and get the 3D files for it if you want, whatever. But we had talked a few months ago about we were getting ready to start doing an MDF line of terrain, and so we were kind of blowing out the stuff that we were carrying. Hate it when I can't remember. Whatever the
TTS.
Yes,
the
TT Combat.
Right? TTS.
Yeah,
TT Combat. There you go. Yeah.
All right, so we've been blowing that out and getting that clear. Well, we got to talking, and we have decided that we are going to work together to bring an MDF version of the Trinity City to life.
Ooh.
They will rescale it. It's not going to be exact. We have to make changes for the difference in 3D printing and printing them out and cutting them out of MDF and board and stuff like that. Because we can actually, we'll be using MDF. We'll be using a real hard cardstock and acrylic pieces. And if there's something that we've got a really weird shape, we might do a 3D printed piece. But anyway, so we are working on those right now. We're going to have a whole our MDF line starting out is going to be the Trinity City stuff from Chris. And
awesome, that's exciting. Yeah, that's
I'm looking forward big time to that. So
yeah,
because he's really done some really cool structures.
Oh no, he has. Yeah, I think I started trying to recruit him a while back. I think he posted some like red rock forces or something. I was like, ooh, that dude can paint. Hey, let's talk to him.
Well, the paint part, him and me kind of talked back and forth about the paint part over the since CAVCon last year. But
right.
We just never could get everything to gel up with. We really didn't need anything at the time and stuff. But you know, as we're getting closer to finishing up the JOR, we've got a bunch of painted ones we still have. So we're gonna throw
we've got a lot.
But yeah, but between sculpting, so we're gonna have some more figures out of him. That he's going to sculpt up for us, and he's going to start helping us paint and anything that's out of the Trinity. Now he's done a couple of other things, like he just kind of did a bulk carrier or something like that. Stuff like that, we're not. If it's tagged with the Trinity City, that's what we're going. Which 90% of what he's put out is part of that. So
Right.
We are still working on, we're exploring a couple of different ways about getting our drop ship released, broadsword. We are getting a little closer to that. Hopefully we'll have some news here pretty soon. We're just trying to work out 2 or 3 more ways to do a couple of things. You know, because we've got to find a happy spot where we can produce enough of them for everybody, but we're not going to, you know, I don't think we're going to need 1,000 of them. So,
right.
You know, we have to take all that into account and make it all. So A,
right.
that it functions for everybody, and B, economically. So.
Right, yeah. Right. Yeah, I mean, you're not a charity, like seriously. Like,
yeah,
if
I could get everybody to pay, if I could get everybody to pay me $500 a piece, it wouldn't be such a big deal. I really don't want to charge you $500.
Yeah, that's pretty. I think James might pay that, but
James might do that. So I do know that right now the plans are we're going to do like 10 of them that we're going to already have assembled and painted, and they are going to be named. So they'll actually have a, you know, like how they name a spaceship, as far as they put a nickname on it, like Lucky 13 or something like that. So we're going to come up with 10 of those. Fantasy or Fighting Piranha Graphics is going to print us up like bomber nose art for each of those. So they'll have custom decals on them and everything. They'll be pre-painted, ready to go. And they'll be, if you buy that one is unique to you and will be featured in the game universe at some point. So,
ooh, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, that might be a $500 one, FYI.
Yeah, that might be. Yeah. Open those pocketbooks up now.
Yeah, but they'll be super cool, nice. Though. Yeah, they'll be super nice.
Sorry. Okay. Sorry, my daughter just busted in.
Most of us are parents. We know how it goes.
Yep.
I have to come up to the shop and hide out. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, your sons are bumming you for money, so no.
Constantly. You know, actually though, I mean, in the grand scope of things, I mean, for the big stuff, you know, that dad, mom's got to pony up for. But they both work. They both have had jobs since they were 15, 16 years old, definitely 15. So they have their own money. You know, they spend all for their own things, do their own deals. So
yeah.
They are getting there. Yeah, I know my oldest boy just turned 20 on the 2nd here.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, 9 days ago or whatever.
Oh man, I remember back when he was never. I've never met him when he was knee high, but
well,
I've got still taller than me. But no.
Yeah, I got people that I hang out with in game when I didn't have kids. So
yeah.
You know, it's scary. Oh my God, got kids.
Yeah,
4 of them.
Yep.
Scary.
No, anyway, yeah, I'm
sorry.
Scary. Off the kids, back to the CAV. No, yeah, no, with that dropship, the 10 name dropship sounds pretty cool, for sure.
I'm also working on a second dropship that will do an MDF. I am going to work on. It's not going to be the broadsword. It'll be an all new design that we can take into account the limitations on what we can and can't do with MDF.
Right.
So. I want to get one of those out. So, Impudent Mortal was a company from down in Southeast that was doing MDF terrain, and he did a drop ship kind of a thing or whatever, but it was more 28 millimeter scale, and I mean it's still good size. I don't think it's as big as the broadsword, but it's all in MDF and cardstock. And looks really, really cool. I'm actually putting it together right now. I got one off of him at NashCon last year, and I'm redoing I have to redo the cockpit area and stuff to scale it out right. But the rest of it looks fine. So that kind of motivated me to come out and do our version. So lots of stuff, as always, lots of stuff planned. We're trying to get there.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get the state of Kansas through the lottery to invest in my company. So I'm hoping that comes through pretty soon.
Yeah.
I talk to him each week, twice a week. I go talk to Mr. Powerball. Mr. Powerball, this is the week. Invest. Get behind us.
Yeah, and they're like, no. Some lucky somebody in Kansas City.
Yeah, yeah. So, we talked a little bit about last week too. We are planning on a virtual convention. We had already started talking about that. I know that Reaper made an announcement last week, the end of last week, that they are planning on doing another virtual show in March. We had planned on doing it in March as well. I doubt that we'll do it the same weekend. I think they're doing it the first weekend of March. We were originally thinking kind of towards the middle of March, because I hate trying to do anything right after when a brand new month starts. So, I think it goes through the 5th. I think it's like the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th or something like that. I think they're doing.
I'll have to look it up. I hadn't been following that detail.
But so anyway, but we are going to be doing a virtual con in March. We'll end up doing another one in October-ish, I guess. Again, if everything else doesn't come around, I'm planning on doing a live show, in-person show at that point. But what's going to happen? So I'm going to put the call out again, because I do it on every show. If there's something that you want to try to do at the virtual show as we broadcast, if you want to do an hour here or run a game or do something like that, we're trying to build on content. I just don't want to be me and James BSing for. So
well, you did have fun doing that last time.
We had a blast. We had a blast, but yeah. I feel bad for I mean, it's, especially if you stayed around a bunch, it was, oh God, I'm so sick of listening to them.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. I don't know. I unfortunately, I didn't get to see much of it. Again, I think my phone and Twitch are like incompatible or just hate each other. And then the lack of internet, because I try and catch the shows, and I'm thinking, well, I don't even know what you guys talked about, because I turn it on and it'll play for 5 minutes, and all of a sudden it goes, yeah, and it hates me for the rest of the time. So
my hope is
it's my end, it's not y'all. So.
No, I know. My hope is, I haven't really talked to you about this, but since I've got you guys on here and listening, is if we start planning ahead enough that maybe we can get like you and Todd and a couple of the other guys here, so that we can actually kind of do things, and if we can kind of see where everything is at and how it's working, I can get you guys up here. There's a lot of stuff that we can do here.
Spring break is. No.
Yeah.
I'm a teacher, so spring break, that would be better.
Right.
But yeah, no, I mean, that would be something. It would be cool, to have like a round table of people doing stuff. Just like you said, to keep the content moving and fresh. Have somebody
just to get different, get a different opinion, and I mean, we can only talk about something so many times before it's the same thing over and over.
Right.
But if like I said, plan ahead and make sure nobody's sick or anything like that, and if we all get together and everybody's real careful about it, I think that's one of the good things about. I also live in BFE. Apparently, we have a little better internet than Ross's BFE, but we have not had a lot of COVID here. More, I mean, we've had our fair share of it, but we haven't had nearly. Of course, it's been growing, but But I think we're the biggest county in the state, and I think at any one time we've got 60, 70 people across the whole county that's been sick. I think we've had 4 deaths through the whole thing. So we're more spread out here, so it's not we're not all crammed together in our area. You get over into Wichita and they're having problems. So my daughter's a nurse over there. So she's having to deal with it. So but that would be cool if we can get that all worked out, where we can have some games. And I'm really trying to push through to get Tabletop Simulator, get that done, so that we've got a plug-in for CAV, so that maybe we can do a virtual tournament.
Well, that would be entertaining.
It is. It's something. It's really not hard to do. It's just a matter of getting the assets together and getting the time, to do it.
Yeah.
And it's just like everything else, right now, if I have to do it, 10 other things get put off to the side.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Right.
so
It
we'll
takes
throw
away
that out
from,
there too.
yeah.
If you don't necessarily want to get on and do a show or something like that with us, if you are a tabletop simulator guy and have that stuff wired, help us out. Help us get a plug-in for tabletop simulator put together. We will be glad to help support assets and art and whatever things like that, because we've already got 3D files of all the models. So I mean, you could actually have the figures to put in there and stuff. So again, if anybody that wants to help that's on it, I don't have time to teach somebody how to do it, but if you're already wired, certainly could help out there.
Versed in it, yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. So we covered that. We talked about the Thunderbolt. We talked about virtual CAV again. The drop ships. What else? What would Ross like to talk about? Because we're gonna. I want you to start showing up more. Now that we've got this figured out, I don't expect you to be on here every night, but.
Well, sure. No, yeah. Now that we can do this, it'll help. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
I told, because James wants to put your guys' Big Stompy podcast back together.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that. We just have been playing. I'm a teacher, and in COVID right now, I was telling John this earlier, and I've told everyone I've talked to, I'm working way more than I am, just with all the precautions and all the spraying, and I've got like 3 virtual classes, and I was joking with Todd. I'm like, I don't have anything to do today except that some kids pestering me at least twice an hour. I got 2 kids going, oh, something broke or something's not right. And so then I've got to spend 20 minutes fixing it. And I got to put my paintbrushes down. And I'm like, okay, got to fix that. And then I'm okay, I'm going to let's get back to doing some hobbies. Oh no, I got something else. Or, so it's been crazy. But right. Yeah, no, James, we talked a little bit about it. And so I think that's in the works, and we just got to I think we're trying to figure out the right time to meet consistently, and content generation as well. I know for the podcast, like it took us a month to kind of figure out what we wanted to do, and then we'd still kind of shoot from the hip at the last second. So it is what it is.
Right.
But yeah, no, I mean, I would be more than willing to do something for sure. I was sitting here today thinking about going, gosh, I haven't played in so long. My brain is getting fuzzy on the rules. So, but play myself some more and reteach myself.
Yeah,
that's how I did it the first time. When I first got into the game, Todd was bugging me, going, "Man, you got to try this. It's so cool. Look at these rules, and this Kickstarter's awesome." And so I was like, "Okay." So I found a few of my medals and ran myself through the game a couple times, and was like, "Oh, this is kind of cool."
Well, I still do that. I haven't for a couple of months, but I set everything out on the table and run a little squad or 2 versus the other game, just to try to keep on track and make sure everything's flowing the way I want it to flow and different ideas and stuff. So, yeah, well, and that Colonel Kane says he's gotten rusty on the rules too. And that happens when we're not playing. It doesn't, it's like Yahtzee. I haven't played Yahtzee for probably 10 years. And the only thing that I can remember is if I roll 5 of the same thing, that's a Yahtzee. The rest of the rules, I couldn't tell you anything about it. So, yeah, so it's like that. Right. It's like any game. If you don't play it or stuff, it's hard to keep track of it. So I'm trying to get into the point where I can run some games, kind of kind of a battle report kind of thing. But again, it's number 11 and number 12 on the list. So I hope
right. Well, yeah, and that's right at our size right now, it's difficult because again, if you are pulled away from the other things you're doing, they're not getting done.
Yeah, because right now,
like,
pretty much,
which one benefits?
Right, because pretty much now everything's focused on getting the new machine in and getting the JOR.
Right.
That's
right. Those are probably the 2 biggest things to get taken care of for sure. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. No, it's exciting. I just it's almost now it's getting to the point, like I think Colonel Kane said earlier, like, was I jealous of the big boy Kodiak? I'm like, yes, I was, man. That thing looks awesome. And James and you got to bust one out and start getting painted up last weekend. And I was like, oh, I got a little tear in the corner of my eye. Like, it's a Kodiak.
Well, I mean, it's going to put the hammer down. I mean, it's got 3 heavy Macs,
Oh
So
yeah.
so at range it
And
can
it's got
start.
rockets too, so you
Yeah,
can't
it's
just go
got
hide from
rockets
it and
if
say,
it
"Oh
wants to
well."
indirect a little bit. But
Yep.
with the max at range, you can start salvo firing,
Hmm.
get a
Oh
plus
yeah.
two, and then once
Well,
you
and
close
with
down, roll for three of those. That's a
there
punch.
it is. Yeah, and of course he's a big beefy boy, but man, with the thing with Omnithrill though, and we were kind of debating on what to talk about, and I think we only got a little bit of time. We can talk about Omnithrill because when I look at them, they're really good at electronic warfare. They got a cheap APA2 and they got several ECM carriers, and they can really modify those heavy Macs at range, and really hurt you. Like those Kodiaks can be throwing down really well. You're what, like, let's see, your base is 9 at extreme, but if you can sneak one of those little, oh my gosh, you did the model for it. My mind just went blank. The little APC looking car with the APA
Oh
two.
yeah, the is it the Gremlin
No, let's
or
see,
the
no.
Hound?
How
Is
can
it the Hound?
Hound the Hound? Oh
Hound.
my goodness, how can I forget that? James is gonna make and Todd are gonna make fun of me forever, and Chandler. I've used and abused those for a while, but yeah, you get a squad of those slipped in there, and and throw that up, and you've got advanced TC1 and Wizzo coming in. You're going to drop that 9 down to a 5, without any terrain or anything. So that's big.
Yeah,
Those
I
guns
mean it's
hurt.
all the game. It's what I try to explain to everybody over and over and over again about playing the game is, they're used to playing the other game, and it's just I took one of these, and that was cool, and I took one of those, and
Yeah.
you
The
just
knight
threw
in
them
shiny
together to
armor, we're
make a
going to
lamp.
duel.
Right,
Yeah.
and we're going to meet in the middle of the board, and we're gonna shoot as we're walking in. We're going to meet in the middle and pick each other, and then that's it.
Right.
Doesn't really work
That's
this
not
way.
CAV.
Yeah,
No.
it's a lot of ranged fire comes in quick because of the longer ranges. Um, the numbers can be a lot lower at times, especially if you have built your force to stack those numbers, so that you're getting the
It's
best
the
pluses.
teamwork. It's the teamwork aspect that when I compare the various games, I really enjoy, because I mean you can go and grab and take some figures and throw them into your force, and that's awesome, and I hope people do that
Yeah,
and to get playing. But once you start looking at the force construction, you can figure out certain units are going to help other units, and they're going to multiply the effect on the board. And then it kind of becomes that stereotypical cliche chess game of whose pieces are blocking whose pieces, and what's going on. And it creates a very rich environment. And yeah, I'm sure I do stuff for you, and I whatever, but I really believe in the game. I don't just like, oh, I'm gonna paint this guy
hey,
'cause...
dude, I'm all for kiss ass. All right, I'll
No,
take
okay,
that all day
okay, never
long.
mind.
It's
So
all good. It's
there we
good.
go. Okay, so yeah, no, but in all seriousness, and the people in the chat probably understand this too, though they wouldn't be here right now. But no, it's and so that's the aspect of the game that I enjoy. Is it is like, yeah, this Kodiak is a big bad trucker, like when you compare him to other units, but then when you look, if you're playing with the faction, like what can I add to make it hum? What's going to do make this even in do a better job? And there's a lot there.
Cav is a game of maneuver. It is a game of maneuver, and it is a game of supporting each other. Recon
Yep.
models actually do recon things. Attack models do attack things. Fire support do fire support. So, uh, changes that we've made as we've gone along with some of the things has even made it more. It can be very deadly to stay still in one place very long. So we want you moving. We want you to, there's things that happen and go on. And sometimes you can get some incredibly low numbers, and people go, "Oh my God, I only need to roll this, and I'm going to hit speed." You got to remember the way that the damage system works out is because you can only do generally on a general rule is 1, 2, or 3 points of damage in an attack.
Right.
So, smaller guys, obviously, the more damage piles up quicker. But for the bigger guys, it's if you didn't have those kind of numbers with the amount of damage that you did, you'd be grinding out for it. And CAV is really set up to be a lot more accurate as far as, you can come out there with a 12 DT Emperor, but if you've got a squad of attack guys that go after him, he's going to be gone in 1 or 2 rounds.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So,
yeah. Once you crack his armor down past that 9 threshold, he becomes a lot easier to deal with. And that's any unit.
Yeah, you get him over the halfway point and not let him get away where he can start repairing. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
it'll just
trouble.
tumble down. But yeah, the trick is you have to survive though him because
Yes.
he's got some guns too.
Well,
He doesn't
right.
play
Yeah,
around.
he's gonna take one, two, three guys with him as he goes. And but that's the thing.
Yep.
You know, when we go out and play games and we do stuff like that, you know, they're so used to taking the Atlas and waiting out there in the middle of the board by themselves and lasting, you know, 20 turns and taking five guys with them and
Yep.
everything like that. And you can't do
Nope.
this. I mean, it's a game of maneuver. You've got to keep moving,
Yep.
but you can't just weigh down in there and stop by
Right.
yourself. Um, the
Well,
little
and then
guys,
the
that's what
teamwork
really kills the
aspect, like
little
you're
guys.
saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can't take one little guy and expect him to survive out on the battlefield. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're going to take little guys, you have to take several little guys because you're going to lose some of them. So you need to have other guys that can do the same thing, and you know, and you got to keep them moving. You got to they got to get, you know, especially with the guys that can get double time. You know, you got to get that double time modifier in there every time, and that's where it really
You're gonna
comes into,
die.
yeah, it really comes into to stacking your team because you know the ultimate three things that you want to do every round is move, shoot, and do a target lock. Well, you only get two
Yep.
actions, so you're only going to be able to do
Right.
two of those out of the three, and so you have to plan on, you know, am I going to be able to move? Am I going to be able to sit still for a minute and do my target lock, or am I going to be able to get help from my EST guy that's in my squad? You know, so
Yep. A lot
you
of
know
choices.
that's, I mean, same thing. I mean, I'm a kiss ass to myself, and I wrote the game, but I really enjoy playing CAV. It's the game that I always wanted to play with
Yep.
mechs and tanks and stuff like combined
Yeah.
arms.
It has a true combined arms. I mean, there's the other game they make. When I say they, I mean in universe, all this combined arm stuff. But when you look at how it plays, it doesn't. It yeah, it doesn't
Well,
work
and
out
I'm
quite
not
as
taking
well. I mean,
anything
I don't
away
know.
from them up until,
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
there's a, I'm not going to get into the whole this happened when or whatever, but you know, for the first few years of this game, that game, you can't take anything away from their universe. They did an
Oh yeah, yeah,
incredible,
yeah, yeah.
incredible job with the universe, the backstory, the things that went with it, and stuff like that. Unfortunately, they got to a point that it just didn't, the way that, you know, I could put up with a lot of the way the game played because of the
Right.
universe and the things like that. But then when the universe wasn't any fun for me anymore, then
Sure.
the game didn't become fun anymore and put up with some of the
Yeah.
shortcuts. So
Yep.
um,
That's what happens. So
yeah.
it's is what it is. But
All
we are
right.
here for
So
Cavs.
we've
So
got just a
I
couple of
think
minutes left. Ross, I'm going to let you finish us out since I have done nothing but talk and talk over you. So what would you like
I'm
to
enjoyed.
finish up with?
I mean, we were just hitting it there. We were talking about the Kodiak. We were talking about Alma Thrill in general. I don't know if you touched on the Twitch much about it, but one of the last things that you did before we got COVIDed was you restructured the entire Alma Thrill lineup. Those that are listening originally, it used just straight up Ritter gear. Like you had your Silverback and your Cataphract and your Rhino,
Right.
and you just painted them up as an Alma Thrill and threw them in your force, and that was your doctrine. Um, okay, cool. I mean, yeah, I made use of it last year in the tournament, and it was
Right.
great, and awesome. But I think you gave them a better layer. You made export models, and you changed the names. Let's see if I can find one. I have a PDF pulled up, and of course I can't find one that just jumps right out at me. Havoc. The Havoc is right now, until you do the art and change it, is basically a cataphract.
Right.
They changed, it's a little faster. Its armor's a little worse than the Ritter version, but it has the same weapons, and its SA's kind of dropped down, but it's also ridiculously cheaper. And so I think the Cataphract's like 620. Well, the Havoc is 521, and to me that changed the whole faction. You have they always had kind of a Soviet feel from the fiction, but
Right.
now they have a Soviet feel from the items. It's like they've got these subpar items that still work, and they're cheap enough that you can still take several of them. It's like, oh, here's my T-72s or 64s or 80s or whatever. They're inferior to anything the West has, but I'm going to have more of them, and we're still going to hit hard. And so that was just something that it kind of popped up to me, and I think it changed the faction quite a bit. And I know you were looking at more doing faction doctrines or changing that up, but that's, for another book and a later time.
Yeah, in the campaign book, they'll have all new faction doctrines. I kind of talked a little bit about how that's going to change up in levels, but that was the idea behind those. It was, their lighter versions, their export versions, or whatever. We had to kind of do that at the beginning because we didn't have a lot of models available, for the Amethyl.
No,
so as
sure.
the Amethyl is kind of punched out and get more of that, we haven't done a lot of it, but like at the last virtual CAVCon when James was up here, the force that he took, I think he had 2 or 3 Tigers, whatever the Amethyl version of the Tigers were.
Fullback,
they're
like fast, you could, low armor, but they still hit hard. I mean,
you couldn't do that with the regular Tigers.
Right, but he's got double time in armor 5. He's got double time and twin heavy max, and rugged and assault 2 and an advanced TC and a Wizzo. I mean, holy cow! Oh, and ammo too. So roll a couple blanks. But it still fights like a Tiger, like as far as its offensive output. But now it's a speedster. It's a cavalry unit for sure.
Cool. Yeah, no, and like I said, when we do the Amethyl versions of them, you're still going to know that that's a Rhino, okay?
Right.
But it'll have some unique items to it that that's the Amethyl version of the Rhino.
Right. That would be awesome. Make me get some more figures.
Yeah. So, and I think that you'll probably see more of those show up too, like with mercenaries and stuff too, because they are. I think the final plan is to move those over into an open category.
Okay.
Because since they're an export model, the Ritter have exported them.
They get exported everywhere.
Yeah, they're everywhere. Yeah. So, later on we'll probably maybe do a few. I don't know that we'll do all of them that way, but we might have some. So, that could help with mercenaries and independent forces and stuff like that you can start seeing some of those. So, well, Ross,
cool.
We've managed to make it through the hour.
It went by quickly.
We have not stopped broadcasting. We did not have you drop off, which is a big plus. So,
yes, for sure.
I hope everybody's had a good time tonight. I think we had a good conversation. We never get to cover everything that we want to cover or talk about, but when we kind of freestyle it, it's kind of the way it is. But we'll have Ross back on, hopefully soon. Like I said, hopefully we'll get their podcast put together.
Yeah.
So, because that's why I told James is when you guys are ready to start doing your podcast, I can host it for you guys. So both of you can get on the phones and talk, and we can record it and do it all at one time and get it out there quicker, better, easier.
I think it will. Yeah, like I said or alluded to earlier, it was a lot of work on James's part to make it happen because he was doing we were recording and coming up with all the content together, but then he was having to handle the technical side of it because of my lack of technology out here in the middle of nowhere. But
I think that it's all. I mean, at least from my side of it, you have been very clear. I didn't have any. The conversation didn't break up. There wasn't any crackling or anything. So hopefully, I figured if anybody else did, they would have said something. So I think everybody heard you fine and clear. So I think we've kind of figured out a way to work until we can get you on Tesla's new internet system or something like that.
Something, I don't know.
We'll figure it out. Something for out in the booty.
Lay some line at the road or something. I don't know. We'll find out.
All right, so we're going to take a couple of minutes before we close off. Does anybody have any questions, anything that we can answer right quick, or get either to me or to Ross and get our outlook on it, or a rules question that you're not sure about? Maybe I'll give you the right answer. So we'll give you a couple of minutes. We'll play the Jeopardy. I guess it's that was too bad about the Jeopardy guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I think everybody knew it was happening. I would like to make a shout out to all of our current veterans, and whether you're serving now or have served in the past, we appreciate everything that you've done, and hopefully you will not be needed in the future at some point. So we can only hope. Ross, what are you painting right now? Asked JS Twitch.
Well,
you can, and it doesn't have to be CAV. If it's something else, you can tell him.
Well, CAV wise, I've got there's a silver duelist that I posted on the Discord like last week, and I've about got a massive set of terrain done up for John. It's the Kickstarter 3 terrain.
Yep.
And I've got like one set that I'm doing the touch-ups on tomorrow, and I should be ready to ship it to him.
Yeah, we're going to photograph all that up. That's supposed to be we actually are really going to do a big push with that terrain and with some new things that we want to do. And when he gets the stuff ready where we can picture it, it'll be good.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah,
anyway,
all right. Sorry.
I know where everything has been. I know where you live. All right. The Hobby Habit, he goes, Ross, your Lion 2 painted on the web pushed me over the edge to buy CAV. So,
the Lion 2, which one? The green one or the gray one?
I don't know. I don't know which one. He said, it's your Lion 2 painted on the web pushed me over the edge to buy CAV.
And it's probably the green one then.
He goes, oh man. He said the gray Ritter.
Oh, the gray one. Okay.
Yeah. And he goes, oh man, cannot wait to see some photos of the terrain. What I've seen so far looks great. So,
yeah,
just
terrain,
too much of it for me to do.
Fun. It's killing me. Sorry, I'm just not someone that can sit. That was a huge project, and I'm like going.
Well, right, and I know that. That's the reason. I mean, it is what it is. You know, we worked it all out.
You know, and painting terrain's different too, like than painting the figures. Like I've been using lots of dry brushing, lots of technique, but it works like for terrain because of what it is and how it is.
Well, especially when you do have to do 4 of them. You know, 4 of them in a row. Some of them.
Well, for a while I was trying to do like 2 one way and 2 a different way, and then like with all the towers and the storage tanks, they're a really cool silver. But they're a good silver. Don't get me wrong. I mean, they look great. But I put them on my table. But yeah, painting those is much different than when when I paint up my 12 units for CavCon. Like those are getting all the blends and highlights, and then these are getting the things that still make them work and look good. But it's getting those busted out and taken care of.
Well, I'm hoping down the road too that I can get Brian over at Fantasy Piranha to do up a couple of decal sheets for some things that could go on terrain, maybe numbers and things on the side of the tanks.
You said that, and I thought that, like I could put, you could have like different Karen companies that go on the side of the tanks or whatever. Yeah, there's a lot you could do with it.
Yeah, on the storage containers and graffiti stuff like that. So cool things.
Yes.
All right, so we are going to call it a night, or we will sit here and talk forever. I know that your kids are looking at Dad.
My wife is probably tapping her foot. So no.
Yeah, okay.
No,
get off.
She said I could. She gave me permission. Yeah.
All right. Well, Ross, I certainly appreciate you being on here tonight, and I can't wait.
Thank
to
you for
have
having
you
me.
back
It was
on
a lot
again.
of fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
So out there to all of our CavLand people, thank you for being here tonight. I appreciate you guys supporting us. Again, anything that you can do out on the internet, please do. And if you need some help and support, let me know. I know that the Hobby Habit has talked. James said he put something up on YouTube, and he's supposed to be getting me the links to that, or I guess I could probably go search it. But if you'll send me the links, I'd like to feature it up on the some of the stuff. The easiest thing is you can email me at cavboss@talon-games.com. Send me that along and get you out there. So other than that, everybody, good night and be safe.
Awesome. Take care. Night.
All right. We are off.
Okay. That's a wrap. All right. Sorry. I hope I didn't put you on the spot on the thing. I said that and I was like, oh yeah, game companies don't ever give timetables because that sucks.
It's all right. No, it's cool. We're all, I'm not all worked out that hard. As long as you're not giving away the secrets of how the chocolates.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I mean, I have an idea on your stuff. You've explained it to us, but I'm never going to say anything because,
Well, it's
better kept in house.
Yeah, I mean, the theory is, I don't have a problem with people knowing how we're doing it. I just don't need them to know where the company is.
I have no idea who they are, and I don't ever want to know.
I don't tell anybody. They're super hard to find.
You keep those cards to your chest. So
yeah, they're overseas, and we just kind of happened to stumble across them. Approached them about, hey, well, you're doing this. What do you think about us doing? everybody
No,
worked
that's
it
awesome.
out.
Like I really genuinely am excited. I wasn't just Twitch excited. I'm like, it's, it could revolutionize how you're getting stuff put out. So,
Well, sir, I'm going to go home
assuming
because
it
I'm
works
sure that
well.
my
All
my
right.
wife is waiting for me for dinner, but I will talk at you later.
Okay.
All right, thanks again.
All right. Adios. Yeah, no problem. Bye.